Good afternoon, wonderful humans, and welcome to the How to Start a Side Hustle webinar. My name is Scott Miller, and I'm incredibly excited to be working with you all this evening in Term 4 as we look at how we can build, launch, and grow our own startups and our own side hustles from right here in Queensland. Now, let's dive straight in. I wanted to start by begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we gather and extend those respects to elders past, present, and emerging, wherever you're joining us from this afternoon. Now, as mentioned, my name is Scott. I'm going to be your facilitator this afternoon, and I'm so excited to be working with you as part of our How to Start a Side Hustle webinar. A bit about me. I'm 23 years old, and I'm the CEO and founder of the organization BOP Industries that helps run the Next Gen Awards. BOP is a company that I started back as a 14-year-old as part of a school business program selling keyrings at local markets. Very much my own side hustle, and it's a company that now sees me getting to travel across the country and around the world, working with about 20,000 students every single year, helping them build their skills in entrepreneurship, innovation, and STEM. So I'm really passionate about side hustles, how we can build our businesses and bring ideas to life, making money at the same time. For me now, as a 23-year-old, I'm one of the top 30 CEOs under 30 years old for Australia and New Zealand. I'm Queensland's young small business leader, and I lecture in a number of universities across the country and around the world, quite often talking about all things business and entrepreneurship. So I'm going to be working with you this afternoon, and it's my absolute pleasure to be working with all our fabulous panelists, and then also diving into a masterclass a little later to look at how you can start your own side hustle. So welcome to our How to Start a Side Hustle Masterclass. Now, this masterclass has been designed to show you how you can start your own side hustle from right here in Queensland. So we've got 60 minutes, and we've got a lot to get through over the next 60 minutes. We're going to be firstly hearing from stories about young people that have brought their ideas to life. We have 3 fabulous young entrepreneurs that are all going to be talking about how they've brought their own ideas and their businesses to life. From there, we're going to be gaining some practical tips on how we can access opportunities, sort of saying, look, what are the things we can do right now to make a start? And we're going to be having a bit of a Q&A with all of our panelists. So for anyone with any burning questions, make sure to pop them in the chat throughout the session because we'll be able to ask them to our panelists a little later. From there, we're going to be diving into a How to Start a Side Hustle masterclass, and we're going to be looking at how we can build an awesome brand for our side hustle, how we can get set up on our sales platforms, and looking at some strategies around pricing. So how do we actually set a price for our products and services, and how do we build a great digital presence, get our business out there, start raising awareness, and start finding some customers as well. So it's going to be a pretty action-packed afternoon, but I personally cannot wait. Now, this masterclass is being run as part of the Next Gen Awards. The Next Gen Awards are a national awards program designed to showcase the next generation of top young talent across Australia. On Monday evening, just this week, we came together in Brisbane for our national awards ceremony, where we announced our national award winners for 6 categories. Congratulations to our 6 winners for Young Entrepreneur of the Year, Young Innovator of the Year, Young Leader of the Year, Innovative Educator of the Year, Gen Alpha of the Year, and Gen Z of the Year. You can find out more about our 6 phenomenal winners as well as all of our awesome finalists by heading to bopindustries.com/next-gen. Now, nominations for the Next Gen Awards will be opening in 2024. So make sure to keep your eyes peeled. Make sure to also subscribe to the Next Gen mailing list so you can keep up to date with all of the opportunities as they come through. Now, this specific webinar, How to Start a Side Hustle, has been made possible thanks to the Office of the Queensland Chief Entrepreneur, along with Advance Queensland and the Queensland Government. The Office of the Queensland Chief Entrepreneur, or OQCE, as we like to call it, is the first of its kind in Australia with a strong goal to accelerate Queensland through innovation and entrepreneurship. They've got a whole range of support programs and opportunities for entrepreneurs all across our fabulous state. So for anyone out there with a business idea that they want help bringing to life, make sure to head to www.chiefontrepreneur.qld.gov.au. A massive thank you to the Office of the Queensland Chief Entrepreneur for helping make this webinar possible and available to young people all across the state as well as across the country. So without any further ado, let's dive in. Now, we wanted to start our masterclass this afternoon by showing you how you can build your businesses right here in Queensland. And we thought, what better way to do that than showcasing 3 young entrepreneurs right here in Queensland? And they're going to share their stories of how they've been able to bring their business ideas to life, the lessons they've learned along the way, and the advice they all have for you guys as aspiring young entrepreneurs. Now, our first presenter this afternoon is the phenomenal Lily Jacobson, the founder of Water Woman. Now, Lily Jacobson is a proud Gubby Gubby descendant who comes from a lineage of painters, crabbers, and fishermen. From beautiful handmade earrings to painted canvas and slab artwork, her goal with Water Woman is to inspire people to open their eyes to a beautiful, multiculturally inclusive Australia with her work. Lily's unique blend of Aussie native flora and fauna and First Nations cultural designs aims to convey this message. She wants you to proudly wear her First Nations art and culture as a badge of modern Australian pride. She started her business when she was just 17 years old, and now at 21, her business is thriving and growing so much that she's just moved into her first professional studio space. Now, I am so excited to hear Lily's story this afternoon, and I hope wherever you are, whether you're in a staff room, a classroom, or sitting on the couch, you're joining me in giving Lily a massive virtual round of applause to welcome her to the stage.
Hey, well, Wanyanulam, welcome everyone. That's my first slide, by the way, Maddie. Very good. There you go. The spelling's there. Love that. So that's welcome everyone in Gubby Gubby language, which I'm slowly learning. It's not so easy to pick up the dialect. Next slide, please, Maddie. So I'm a full-time professional artist and educator now. I've had no training. I've not been to uni. I'm completely self-taught, which is funny. But I've owned my own business, Water Woman, since I was 17. And it started off as a little fun little side hustle hobby, actually, which I'll get into. But I'm really proud of my mixed heritage. And my father's side is Gubby Gubby. And that's around Sunshine Coast area. And also Sri Lankan descent. So I'm truly Australian. You know, got lots of different mixed cultures in my blood, and I just am really proud of that. And I think that we should all be really proud of that as Australians. So, yeah, I could honestly talk about my journey for hours. So, everyone, if you are really interested in what I have to say, feel free to just contact me on Instagram because I'm really open to offering my advice and my story. And I'm still learning as I go along. So, follow for the journey. So I started creating earrings at home as a part of my mental health practice to calm my mind and to cope with my anxiety and my hectic life. I had a really blended family and life was just pretty crazy. I grew up in Bundaberg and that's where I am now. So traveling Bunda country as well as Gurang and the Bailey people's country. And but yeah, my actual country is Cubby country. And I've always been really artsy, but I used to actually get like C average at my private school in art class, which is funny now because I used to get so bummed when I got those grades. But now I realize that my level of creativity couldn't really be measured accurately, you know, and I couldn't tick those boxes of the Australian curriculum that it's designed to put you in. So I sculpt earrings using polymer clay, acrylic paint and resin and all the good stuff like that. And there's a little video there that will be played of just some things that I've been doing this year. Oh, we got 2 videos. It's very good. So I've been making earrings for 5 years now, and I'm looking to expand my practice into creating like more gallery ready pieces, not just the earrings, because I find that I make the earrings, they're unique and then they sell and they're gone. Not the best marketing strategy, not super easy to stay on top of. So currently I'm developing a new art style, which you'll see on the video there, by framing my designs in actual slab artworks. So they're quite detailed. And at the start of the year, I actually won a National Emerging Artist Award at a competition in Winton, so like outback Queensland, and have only really sold like 6 pieces of the slab artworks this year, but I've had a really massive year focusing on, you know, big life changes and connecting with the black side of the family. And that's been really, really good because I'm able to actually learn more. And it's just been a really spiritual journey. So I've actually been really focusing on that. And I think, having work-life balance is really, really important. So I've actually had a really massive year. And I have been teaching my skills in polymer clay in Bundaberg here. Also in Agnes. I don't know if anyone's been there. It's beautiful. As well as Brisbane. And over the past 2 years, I've ran about 50 workshops, which is actually quite a lot. And the best and most successful businesses, in my opinion, start as passion projects and hobbies. So that's why I was so happy to teach my skills to people, because they're able to pick up a new hobby and a new skill. The longevity, the successful, it's hard to explain. I can't say longevity, but what makes a great small business depends on you. And you want to be in a space where you wake up every day and you have a deep desire and drive and fire inside of you to want to work on it, make it better, and find things that work. I found that sculpting earrings was so therapeutic for my spirit. And then came the Wattle tribe. So people started wearing my artwork on their bodies and felt the love and the spirit and the energy that I pour into every single pair. And so that's when I decided to start the business for real. I quit my job working 40 hours a week as a barista. I quit uni completely. I was studying occupational therapy. And then 2020 hit and I was like, nah, I can't be in the health field. I need to get out. It's not working with me. And I pursued my creative career. And it was really quite daunting at the time. And I would suggest keeping your new business as a side hustle until everything in the universe calls you to follow that path. And for me, it was a feeling that this way is the right way to go. And I was making more money than I ever thought that I could. It was awesome. As a 17, 18-year-old, it's really cool. And there's so much potential there. And one day you'll understand and you'll go for it. So tips, Maddie, slide please for my tips. Very good. Tips for the Wolbai, which means kids. So show up, show up for yourself every single day and build habits. Show up to events, speeches, and be in places that inspire you and drive your passion, and talk to people who inspire you. And show up every day, honestly. I honestly did not really want to go to work today, but I went there, I showed up, and then I just got into my little mood and I was like, oh yeah, all right, got it going. And you have to be your own motivator. You're your own boss. That is super, it comes with so many challenges and rewards, but you just got to go for it. If you either make it or you break it. So give it a go. And if you can't make it, go to something else. There's nothing wrong with a 9 to 5. So be honest and authentic. Real people can read real people. And those people want to buy a piece of you or your products. So there's way too much false and fake living going on through social media, and you'll stand out if you're just not a fake person. Don't be afraid to fail. Yeah, I studied for 2 years doing uni, from 18 to 20, I think. And don't be afraid to try new things and fail, because your failures might actually be the best decision of your life and the most, successful monetary gain you might ever have. So let go of your social stigmas, because I'm a uni dropout and I'm actually really proud of it. Work hard and play hard. I'm still learning this. You're a young person. Don't work yourself to an early grave. Go out and have some fun every now and then. That's my advice, really. It's just quite honest. Have some balance. Yeah, but I'm keen to hear some questions. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, that's all I've got for you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lily. That was absolutely fantastic. And I think so great to hear.
Oh, this is Pickles. She's my best friend. She wishes you the best in your chosen field with the biggest smile.
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much, Lily. That was great. And I think awesome to hear about your journey, your pathway, and particularly I think that motivation. I know for so many of us that are sort of looking at starting a side hustle, you don't often intend on doing it. You just sort of start as this passion project, something you enjoy, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, dang, I can can make money doing this thing I enjoy. Like, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's really cool to experience. You're like, oh, I don't have to live, a 9-to-5 life. I can make my own life the way that I want to live, Like,
Absolutely.
You're saying that you travel so much, and I'd love to travel around, and I can do that,
Yeah, 100%. And can you tell me, where did you learn your business skills? Because obviously you seem like very much a creative. You've got all these amazing creative skills and create the most beautiful products. But where did you go to learn the business side of things?
Well, my grandfather on my mum's side had a chocolate shop in the 70s. And then his daughter, my auntie, also has a chocolate shop now. So it's like second generation, born into it, understood business on a ground level. And my mum is actually a graphic designer as well. For the past 30 years, she had her own business. So I am lucky enough to have like that business sense and ethic of work driven into me. So it was sort of a rite of passage for me. But I would suggest for people that don't have that, go and get a job at a cafe and become friends with your boss, because you'll learn so much, honestly.
Absolutely. And is there a best piece of advice you've ever been given in business yourself?
Oh, yeah, do your books.
Do your books? Absolutely.
Do your books. do your taxes. That's basically
Absolutely.
it.
Excellent advice. Excellent advice for every young entrepreneur. That's fantastic. Now, for anyone that does have any questions for Lily, make sure to pop them in the comments section on YouTube Live. We're going to be getting Lily back for a bit of a panel discussion with Felix and Chloe in just a second. So if anyone does have any questions they'd like to ask Lily about herself, her business, or her journey, make sure to drop them in the comments section. But Lily, thank you so much for joining us this evening. We'll see you back very, very soon for some questions. Thank you. Awesome. Wonderful. Well, I'm sure you can all agree Lily is truly fantastic. And I know I'm feeling very inspired after hearing her story. Up next, though, we have the fabulous Chloe Ali, the founder of By Chloe. Now, Chloe is just 16 years old and began her business By Chloe in 2019 when she was just 11. Chloe's heat wheats are made from 100% cotton, wheat, and dried lavender. Each one has an inner lining which holds the wheat, and Chloe handpicks a variety of cool fabrics for the outer bag to appeal to her customers. Heat packs are a product that everyone can use to help them get relief from aches, pains, and injuries, or just for comfort. Recently, Chloe was working on the idea of running a handmade market solely for young entrepreneurs. Her aim is to create a market opportunity for young business owners just like herself. Chloe, are you there?
Scott.
Hey, Chloe,
Hello.
Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Now, 16 years old, you would still be in year 11, I imagine?
Yes, I just turned 17 on Tuesday, so
Oh, happy birthday.
I'm 17 now, not 16.
How's term 4 treating you? How are you going?
It's been really good. It's been a challenge, year 11, but really looking forward to the last year of high school and doing my best there. So, yeah, it's been great so far.
Nice. And can I ask, what subjects are you studying in year 11 and 12?
Yep, so I'm doing business, accounting, I'm doing geography, English, maths methods, and yeah, I think I got them all.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That sounds like a really nice mix, like a few different skill sets, a few different interest areas there.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, fabulous. I'm going to hand over to you to share a little bit about your story, because I know, reading through your bio, you've had a really impressive journey already and done some amazing things. So for everyone joining from home, please give Chloe a massive virtual round of applause. Chloe, over to you.
Thank you so much. So hi, my name's Chloe. I'm the founder and owner of By Chloe. I'm the 2021 Future Anything Grand Final winner. After injuring myself while competing in a touch football competition, my mum gave me a heat wheat to help recover. It all started from here. I wanted to help people just like my mum helped me. After some research and trial and error, I purchased all the materials that I needed to make a heat pack. Not long after, I had a long list of orders to fill from family, friends, and even hospital staff who wanted to use my mini heat wheats to use in their pockets on night shift. I also forgot to mention that I started my business back in 2019 when I was just 11 years old. As part of my business studies in Year 9, I participated in the Future Anything Activate program. I'm not sure if any of you have heard about it, but I definitely recommend getting involved in that if you get the chance. We were tasked with being able to pitch an innovative, scalable, and sustainable idea that makes the world a better place. After completing the semester of learning, I was given the opportunity to enter my business idea into the National Future Anything competition. I chose to continue to expand my current business, making it eco-friendly and supporting our Australian farmers who are doing it tough through offering an organic range of heat wheats. The idea came about after I was contacted by one of my stockists in early 2021 about supplying their business with organic heat wheats. I currently stock in 8 businesses along with attending various handmade markets. After being successful in my application, I was super excited to be progressing to the semi-finals, which was a very exciting but nerve-wracking experience. I presented my business idea to 3 judges, friends, family, and a variety of people like you. Sorry if you can hear my dogs barking right now. Via Zoom, and won the national semi-final as well as the People's Choice vote. During this journey, I met some super inspiring people. It was just amazing for us to be given this opportunity to develop and grow our ideas. I was the second person to pitch my business idea in the time frame of just 3 minutes in front of an audience of 500 people, including 3 judges at the grand final. Winning the grand final meant so much to me and for the future of my business. After winning the grand final, I have developed a website and worked along some incredible people, like I mentioned just before. 2 years later, here I am. I am set to launch the By Chloe Youngpreneur Markets at North Harbour. This initiative aims to offer young business owners a chance to display their products, foster valuable connections, and ignite a sense of community among like-minded peers. After looking for a suitable Christmas market for me to attend with my heat packs, I saw the need for more market opportunities. My aim, which is set to come to life on the 2nd of December, is to create a market opportunity for young business owners like myself. And I'm sure many of you behind the scenes there. I was also recently a finalist at the Moreton Bay Business and Innovation Awards. So I'd like to show you a few of my products. So this is our eye pillow. Like I mentioned before, they've all got wheat and dried lavender inside. So these fold out. I should have unpackaged one for you, but there you go. This is our mini size. So they come in a pack of 2 as well. I have a medium pack. They're also a pack of 2 as well. And then our long as well. And I've also recently designed some t-shirts, as you can see me wearing. So they're also available to purchase too, which is super cool, and designed by a local girl that I know called Sophie Fletcher Designs. So definitely check her out as well. She hand draws some really awesome designs. So I'd love to hear if you've got any questions, and thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chloe. That was fantastic. And what an awesome journey you've had already. And only in year 11. I can't wait to follow your journey and see where you're at in the next 10 years. That was brilliant. Now, for anyone that does have any questions for Chloe, make sure to head to the comments section, drop those questions in, because we'll be able to ask those to her in a second. And as a reminder for everyone, if you missed it, 2nd of December, the Youngpreneur Markets. Now, Chloe, where are they taking place? How can we find out more?
Yeah, absolutely. So North Harbour are sponsoring the event, and they are based in Burpengary. So it will be at the Burpengary where all their sort of houses are. If you're not sure who they are, they're like Stocklands. So that's super awesome. So it'll be held in Burpengary. We have a Facebook page running for Youngpreneur Markets by Chloe. That's called, and I'll pop that in the comment section too. So you can check that out, as well as I've been posting it all over my social media as well. So if you jump on there, you'll be able to see the links to all the event information there too. And if there's anyone here that has a small business or would like to have a market at the store, please reach out. I'd be more than happy to have you there.
Awesome. That's fantastic. Great work, Chloe. Now, a question for you. I know you mentioned you're in year 11, and I can imagine that would have been crazy trying to balance school and work. Do you have any advice for young people that are in a similar boat, sort of saying, look, I want to start a business, but how do I balance business and work, business and school, sorry?
Yeah, no, this is a very common question that I get all the time. Like, how do you do this? I actually also have a part-time job as well that I got over just the Christmas holidays type thing. So yeah, I'm currently juggling school, part-time job, and my business. Obviously, my business, well, school and my business comes first, I should say, not just my business. But that's really important for me. I try to spend my week doing schoolwork, weekends work, and my business as well. So try and keep one day for family, because that's really important. Having a day to just chill out and relax. But yeah, just working around, keeping a schedule is really important.
Absolutely. That's fantastic. And tell me as well, you made the decision to take your business further as part of the Future Anything competition. I know like sometimes young people, they might like go through, they'll start a business and then say, look, that's been really fun as part of the program, but that's sort of like done. What was the driver for you? Why did you say, actually, no, this is something I want to continue on with?
Yeah, that's a great question. So as I mentioned, I started my business when I was 11. So having this competition really boosted my confidence with my business, and I thought, wow, this could be something that I do long term. So I was in year 9 at the time. I entered the competition, and I thought, how can I make my idea even better than what it is? How can I make it sustainable and make the world a better place? So I thought that by expanding and making that organic range, I was able to donate back to our Australian farmers. I made the connection with the wheat and them, so I thought that was a great connection there. And I've always been really interested in business, and it's always been really I've always been really passionate about what I'm doing.
Awesome. That's fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining us this evening, Chloe. I really appreciate it in what is a very busy term for you. But for anyone that does have any questions for Chloe, make sure to pop them in the comments section. We're getting Chloe up back here in just a second for a bit of a Q&A. But Chloe, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Alrighty, so we've just heard from Chloe. We've also heard from Lily. Up next, we get to hear from the fantastic Felix. Now, Felix is the co-founder and product lead at mindmuse.chat. Felix recognizes that we're all within ships sailing towards dangerous reef-filled waters. Impact, innovation, and compassion are the brands which power his fleet. Utilizing these, he's helped others steer to safer water when looking at climate and energy management, mental health technology, and improved health and well-being within developing nations, to name a few. Felix has won or was a finalist for 13 highly competitive startup or problem-solving programs, been a crew member to 7 startups, and is a founder of 2, and has been helping grow the student entrepreneurship community locally, nationally, and internationally. He started out his journey while still in high school, working outside class and in extracurricular times, and he's now been in the startup space for 7 years. His devotion to supporting others through entrepreneurship has seen him named a Liveris Academy Scholar, as well as a 2022 UQ Student Entrepreneur of the Year. Could you please join me in giving Felix a massive virtual round of applause to welcome him to the stage? Hey Felix, how you doing?
Hey Scott, no, doing great. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. It feels odd being on the other side.
Thank you for joining us. You have such an impressive bio, and I know you're someone that I've known for a number of years now, and someone that's made just like massive waves, I think, for student entrepreneurs across the state here in Queensland. And you're one of the most well-networked and well-connected individuals I know. So I know I'm really looking forward to hearing your presentation this afternoon on your advice for young people wanting to get into the startup space. So I will hand over to you. Thank you so much for joining us, Felix. Everyone, let's give Felix a big round of applause.
Brilliant. Okay, so hopefully let's have some fun. I have a couple more slides than the others, so try and keep to speed, more like it. So first, let's go to the next slide. So this is just my rant slide. So who am I? So you heard a bit already, but maybe more on the human side, just so you know, I am human. I was born in South Africa. After a couple of years of traveling with my family, we ended up in Australia. And then building up from all of that, somehow after a couple of years, I got myself involved in the startup scene, and then just got more and more involved and did some more travel recently, and here we are. So what I'll be sharing now is a bit more of that journey in more depth, looking a bit more at my time when I was a student, and a bit of the more overarching themes, especially looking at some mental mindsets, which might help you out as well. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, so one of the first stages when I was in high school, right? So early high school, I call this stage growth. You might also think of it as exploration, right? Remember that word exploration. So that's where I was like, okay, what does it mean to have a fulfilling life? Okay, if I'm going to spend most of my life doing something, what will I be doing? So I recognized myself. I had lots of passions, lots of interests, and I was like, what is it which gives meaning, joy, rather than just like short-term happiness? For me, that was really helping people. So at that time, I read this brilliant book, which was 80,000 Hours, which gave a lot more framework to my thinking about impact at scale and different ways of having impact, such as choosing problems, which problem to choose, and then how to go about doing that. So after that, I was like, okay, fascinating. What am I going to do? I sort of consolidated on maybe like policy. One person policy can have long-lasting impacts across lots of people. Maybe business, right? One person business, scalable impact, incredible as well. Or technology. One person technology, say, can bring down an energy plan and bring a nation down in minutes. Also, pretty incredible impact in a bad way in that case. So I was like, okay, what can I do? And I started going out, seeing what people out there at events, meeting incredible people, solving incredible problems, what they were needing. And I taught myself how to program. So just went on YouTube, found some tutorials, worked on my own projects, got something going, while developing my ability, learning how to network, how to get into events. Hot tip, you can volunteer to get into events. That's how I did it then. Okay, next slide. Great. So then, say middle high school, towards the end of the years, so for about a couple of years, I then started exploiting on all that knowledge, which was where I started using all that knowledge to sort of provide value to people. So I would find people, go, okay, you're having this issue, you're trying to help all these people. Let me help you go further with your impact. So, which is great. I've worked with so many startups in that time for a couple months, for longer term, and I learned so much. And yes, I was still a student doing that. So I would go to the classes, say if in grade 11, and then after my class, I might go to networking event that evening. I might come back home at 9 o'clock. Some days I might even have to do some work that evening. I don't know how I got through grade 11 like that. I don't think I did any work during the weekdays. Similar with grade 12, I continued working. I had COVID in grade 12, and I would work during weekends in that case. But what was interesting then on the mental mindset side was before I had learned so much consuming online articles, YouTube, podcasts. But this stage, I was like, okay, let me have my own thoughts. So the mental mindset here in massive learning was more on using all that, putting it aside and going, based on my experiences, what can I actually say? And that became quite important too. So next slide. Okay, so after that, I was like, okay, look, I'm still young. Let me go to high school instead of continuing to work with these startups. So what I did was I did that, and I was amazed, actually. I met all these other incredible young people who were also interested in changing the world. I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. I knew Scott by then, but I was like, look, there's others beyond Scott too. So that was really interesting. And I, again, went into this exploration phase of just learning as much. I developed my public speaking skill, running workshops, bringing people together. And I also started working on my own projects, saying, how can I help people from the ground up? So doing a lot of that major mental mindset model, which really helped me then was, I learned was really identifying your assumptions. I believe X will help Y many people. What's the assumption behind that? So you find that assumption and then you go test that assumption. What's the quickest way for you to test that assumption? So that mindset of outlining everything you assume and then going, okay, let me go test this. So if you have a product, an idea, figure out what are all the assumptions which are required for you to become that millionaire winner for your business. And then just go try and prove whether they are right or wrong, with the mindset of it being that it's mostly wrong. Next slide. Okay, now sort of coming to an end. So here is another, so we've explored, then we've exploited on that. We've explored again. This is again coming back to an exploit idea of me putting all that to practice again. So bring a lot of other superheroes and mentoring other startups and other young people. So I have pictures up there of me in Cambodia, mentoring startups over there, which have a fascinating entrepreneurship ecosystem. The next photo is me in Indonesia building a medical record database, which is the main image you see there, to help NGOs working with people in street situations or poverty, help identify when young people are stunting or malnutrition, as well as just bringing more communities across Australia and bringing young people together so that they can work towards solving very big and massive problems. And all of that, you may be, okay, so what are you actually practicing? I'm practicing seeking the unknown, right? So putting myself in these really unknown situations and having the confidence of going, I can do something. Okay, now if we go to the next slide. So now just recapping everything I kind of said. So yes, I explored, right? I went, okay, I want to have an impact. What am I going to do? Then I talked to people. I learned what they did. And then I brought that together and I taught myself those things using YouTube, books, podcasts. Then I went out and I actually started selling that as a service, which made some pretty good money, for a student back then. Then I went out and I explored again and discovered a whole other space that I never knew even existed. And then I just exploited on that again and see how the impact I could do. Now I'm working on my own startup still, but there's still so much out there, and I'll leave it to question times for when you guys have questions. Feel free to reach out to me as well. My name's there, Felix Hall. I don't have any social media except LinkedIn, so maybe once you guys have a LinkedIn, feel free to look me up. Just last slide, just to wrap it up on a final one. Oh, there we go. I guess that's it. So now it's on to you, really. So exciting. Feel free to ask questions or reach out whenever. So there you go,
Awesome.
Scott.
Thank you so much, Felix.
5 minute
That was fantastic. You've put so much, like 7 years of amazing experiences into 5 minutes. That was brilliant. And I guess, Felix, from your perspective, like, can you talk to me about, I guess, your decision-making process, finishing as you were sort of coming towards year 11 and year 12, like or not missing school, but doing a lot of stuff outside of school in the startup space. How did that sort of conversation go with any parents or guardians? And also, I guess, like the thought process in your head around what do I want to do when I finish school? Can you just talk us through what that decision-making process looked like?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's many questions in one question. So thought process. Yes, I did skip school. Like I said, I used to volunteer for conferences. That may be 3 days out of school. Some days I'd go to the startup office. That may be another day out of school. So I had to know, when was it valuable for me to do that? When was it better just for me to study? And be like, look, one of the flexibilities I had being in the role I had was actually to go, look, let me just do this late on the weekend. Right. So I had that power because, again, I was providing something which these startup founders really needed. So I had a bit of buying power in that sense. So then your next question, conversation with parents. So initially, my mom didn't really get it either, until I started getting like that first paycheck. It's like, what? Why? Just focus on your studies. Your studies will get you further too. And then even going onwards from that, it was also like me going to university. That was also an interesting point in time, because it's like, look, I can just continue working with these startups. Like, why would I even go to uni? And look at you, Scott, you've managed to get out of it too. But for me, I was like, look, I am young. The thought process there was really to continue exploring so that I can exploit on it again later. So sort of being at a stage, recognizing, look, I had learned so much already being at what I'd done. Let me put myself in a new environment, new ecosystem, and seeing what comes out from that. So that's the mindsets and conversations I've had there. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And one final question for you before I bring our other panelists back. And as a reminder for anyone that does have any questions for Felix or any of our other panelists, now would be the time to pop that in the comment section, because we're just about to dive into a Q&A. But Felix, you're also someone that has done a great job of building a personal brand. Like, you've built a great network. You're quite active on LinkedIn. Can you talk to us about just like some of your top tips for any young people wanting to build a personal brand?
Yes, it's quite funny actually. I still remember, Scott, seeing a presentation of yours maybe like 5 years ago when you did a presentation for Jenin on your personal brand. So definitely something to consider. I've built a brand, say, around impact, around helping people. So I think it's knowing how you're as a person and just helping other people see that, because then you're able to be consistent because it's just you. So for example, I always like showing up for people, giving to people. So then I help that be part of my brand, which is just doing what I do in any case, but then it's just showcasing that in the more I don't know if that makes
Absolutely.
sense to anyone, but maybe.
Yeah, that's a great piece of advice. I think like that whole concept of give first, like being able to help people, like saying yes to things, and then people will be willing to give that back to you. Fabulous. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring back Lily and Chloe to the stage, and we're going to jump into a bit of a Q&A. Hey, Chloe. Hey, Lily. You guys back?
Yes.
Awesome, fabulous. The dream team has been assembled. I promise we'll get Avengers shirts for the next webinar. Now, yes, if anyone does have any questions for any of our young entrepreneurs, make sure to pop it in the chat. Now, Maddie, I'm going to get you to queue up a question for us. And while you get that queued up, my first question to each of you guys is, can you tell me what you guys do when you're not working? Now, I know we talk a lot about the startups that we're working on and the businesses that we have, but how do you like to switch off? Like, what do you do to sort of relax and sort of like stop your brain going at 1,000,000 miles an hour? Yeah, Chloe?
Me, I love surfing. Love going to
Nice.
the beach. That's where I like spending my time with my dogs. I love them. So yeah, spending my time at the beach is how I like to chill out.
Awesome. Lily, how about yourself?
Well, it's really funny because I like to paint, and that's like my job. So sort of like catch-22. But I've got a pug, Pickles, who's just down here. She's doing zoomies. So yeah, I hang out with her too, and I actually skate as well. So that's what I do to chill.
Awesome. Fabulous. And Felix?
Depends when. After a very stressful time and I just don't want to use my brain, then I love putting on a K-drama. That's, a big thing for me. It's just nothing else relevant. Otherwise, I love music. If I didn't go into startups, I'd be a musician right now. I love composing, playing music. So I can just zone off as well, go in my own bubble.
Excellent question. I think, yeah, that work-life balance is so important. It's so important to take care of yourself as a founder and like know that it's okay to not have to be working 24/7. So it's always nice to have a switch off. Maddie, do we have any questions from the audience? Oh, perfect. Thank you, Madison O'Neill. The question, how did you know when the right time was to start your business? Lily, I might give you this one. I know you sort of touched on it a little bit in your presentation where you sort of quit your job, you dived in and you mentioned like waiting until the universe is pulling you. Can you elaborate on that a little bit more for us?
Yeah, well, it's just your intuition. You just got to trust yourself and everything around you will let you know, maybe you hate your job and maybe you're making heaps of money in your side business or, I think I dived into it when 2020 happened and I was just like, how can I support myself during this time, and being in the health field wasn't it. So that's like just the universe, just puts you in little situations where it's like, no, I need to do this. This is what I'm meant to do. So you just got to follow your path that you're meant to be on. It'll be a feeling,
Yeah, absolutely. Chloe and Felix, any thoughts from either of you guys?
I can go first.
Sorry, yeah. For me, I didn't mention this actually, but my grandparents bought me a sewing machine for Christmas one year. So it was kind of just up in the cupboard. So when the idea came about after I injured myself, it sort of just came from there. So I kind of just fell over it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Universe.
Yeah.
Universe, absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome. And Mads, do we have any other questions from the audience? Do we have another one? Awesome. Oh, Nico and Rio, how long did the progress go before launching your business? How long did it take to launch your business online? Oh, actually, yeah, Chloe, I know you mentioned you've just set up an online store and you're getting ready to launch. Can you talk to us about what that process looks like, sort of getting your business ready to sell online?
Yeah. So after I won the competition in 2021, I had the Future Anything team help me with launching a website. So as part of my prize package, I won a website launch and help with mentors as well. So that sort of came about through winning the competition. But it probably took me, I'd say maybe 6 months to get it fully up and running and to work along some mentors to help me in that space.
Awesome. Fabulous. Do we have another question? Oh, how much is a product? Maybe potentially for Lily and Chloe, roughly, yeah. How much have you guys sold your products for? And maybe as well, like, how did you find that price?
Yeah. Through a lot of trial and error of what is my time worth to how much this costs to make. And I've definitely undersold a lot of products when I first started. But now my price range is like minimum $30 to $100 just for one pair of earrings. These ones that I've got on, they're pretty big. They're just about $85. But then a slab artwork that I do is like $2,000. So
Wow, a big range. But I can imagine something for everyone, like whether someone's got $30 or $2,000, there's something for them.
Yeah, it's really important to have like all the different what people can buy because they want a piece of you, but just can't afford, $2,000 sometimes.
Absolutely. And Maddie, do we have one last question from the audience? Oh, what advice would you give to your younger self knowing what you know now? Felix, I might direct that one towards you. I know you've had a lot of experiences over the past 7 years. What advice would you give your younger self?
That's a really interesting one. I think, for example, the mental model that I shared before of like exploring and then exploiting on that, just seeing that as like a way of seeing different things, right? So you can look at your career, your jobs, your different ways of, and being comfortable with that. Because sometimes people will expect that you're always returning results, but you don't have to be, right? You're in a growth stage. You're just exploring, which is completely fine. And then you can return results in a year or two time, which, is not how people expect of it because people often expect things really quickly. So yeah,
Absolutely.
probably that.
That's awesome. And I guess a similar sort of question that's just come through from McRae. Did you, before you started, did you have a vision of where you wanted to be? I might ask this to anyone that wants to take this question. When you were starting out, did you expect to be, or did you have a goal of where you wanted to go and how to get there?
I'm happy to take this one. Like I said, I started with that idea of how can I have impact at scale. But many people coming back to your personal branding one as well couldn't quite understand that as well, which is why recently I've had to phrase that in a way of I want to help 100,000 people by a certain amount, by a certain date, which has helped people understand it. But it also means it gives an idea for yourself of where you want to be. So I knew I wanted to be, it didn't matter if I was a founder, if I was an operator, if I was doing X, Y, Z, but as long as I'm out there helping people at scale in a meaningful way.
Yeah, awesome. Fantastic answer. Well, we might leave the questions there. I am just conscious of time, and I know all of our fabulous panelists have got places to be. But just before we finish up, I have a question for each of you. Final question is, where do you go to keep up with information? What is your sort of one recommendation for, it could be a digital tool that you love to use, a mailing list that you get great information from, a social media account that you love to follow from a business perspective? What is one thing that all of our audiences can go and download, subscribe to, or follow to help them out as part of their journey? Anyone want to kick this off?
Yeah, personally, I obviously subscribe to the Future Anything emails, and Nicole keeps me updated with, she's the CEO, so she keeps me updated with everyone that's in her mailing list where she is in the world. She's always somewhere really, really cool with her business. I love hearing that, and some tips and tricks that she likes to share on a monthly basis, I'd say. So yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Lily, how about yourself?
Well, I don't know. I try and use social media as least amount as possible, and I just sort of take a lot of inspiration from my actual life. But I've been trying to build more connections, so I'm going to work on that. So I would actually just suggest, I really like talking to inspirational people, locally. I don't know. Do you know Elijah? Is it Tadera?
Yes. He's awesome.
I just did a podcast with him, and it's coming out later. But just being around people like him, so go and check out his podcast because he just talks to really cool people, and I like hearing about what others are doing that are successful.
Yeah, absolutely. And Felix, how about yourself? Any recommendations of something we can subscribe to, follow, or check out to keep up to date with cool new things?
If you want to keep up to date, you got to follow me on LinkedIn because I got nothing else. You want something to subscribe to, maybe as you get further along definitely recommend checking out Ripple Opportunities. They're just brilliant people helping young people be able to achieve more impact. As well on that, if you want to read 80,000 Hours, the book which helped me, like with my thinking and all, I'd recommend that too. So there you go.
That's fantastic. Amazing advice. And thank you to the three of you for taking the time to jump on this afternoon and share your advice, your stories, and your insights with all of our fabulous audience joining us from across the state this afternoon. Everyone in your lounge rooms, staff rooms, or bedrooms, can you please join me in giving a massive virtual round of applause to Felix, Chloe, and Lily for joining us this afternoon. Thank you so much, guys. Have a wonderful night. We'll see you later.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Alrighty, team. So we've heard from our fabulous and super inspirational panelists. Now what I wanted to do is dive into a bit of a masterclass. Now, a lot of you might be sitting there just bubbling with ideas, bubbling with inspiration, saying, all right, I'm ready to go. I'm inspired. I've heard from 3 awesome young entrepreneurs. How do I make a start? Well, what we've got is a pretty action-packed 10, 15-minute masterclass for you guys on how you can start a side hustle. Now, this masterclass is being recorded. It'll be available online to watch back afterwards. So if you want to go back, pause on any slides, dive a little bit deeper, anything like that, you're more than welcome to. So let's make a start. The first part of starting a side hustle is obviously figuring out what is it that you're going to sell and how can you get started that way. Now, a few ways you can do it. There's a number of different ways, but 5 that I would recommend. First one is solve a problem. If you can make someone's life better or easier, they'll probably pay you for it. So if you've got a problem in your life, I know I always make a little notes page in my phone with just like minor inconveniences or problems that I have or I hear other people complaining about, and then come back to it and saying, how could I develop a solution for that problem? Look at what's already popular. I know things like, for example, candles and scented candles are so popular. Loads of people are making them. Water bottles. Frank Green has reignited our love of water bottles. So look at what it's already popular and start making your own version of something that's trending. You could start importing, jumping on platforms like eBay or Alibaba, buying products really cheap online, getting them shipped to Australia, and then reselling them around your local community. You could sell your skills. You could be doing photo editing or photography, graphic design, dog walking, cleaning, lawn mowing, things like that in your local community. What might people pay you to do for them? And finally, jump on YouTube and see what you can learn how to do. I know for me, one of the products I started back when I was a young entrepreneur was selling holograms, and I learned how to make holograms off a YouTube tutorial, and I started making them and selling them around my local community. So think about what could you do to get started, and these are 5 ways you might be able to get a product up and running really simply and really easily, remembering that the product that you start with isn't always the product you end with. For me, over the past 9 years of my career, I started selling keyrings at local markets. Then I got involved in the hologram space in events and marketing, and now I'm in education. So you've just got to start small and start somewhere, and you'll grow from there. So once you've got a product, next up, we're going to build a great brand. And you really want a brand that is memorable and stands out. Now, obviously, the key part of a great brand is having a really great logo. Now, when it comes to designing your logo, there's a number of different ways you can do it. And here are 6 on the screen now. You go with something like Pepsi. They have an abstract concept of a logo. It doesn't necessarily mean anything or stand for anything, but it's a really cool icon that's super memorable. A pictorial mark, the old Twitter logo, may it rest in peace, is a really good example of this, where it was quite clearly a picture or an icon of a bird. You could go with a mascot or a character, like Starbucks has a mermaid as their mascot, which is their logo, or a word mark like Google, where the Google name, the brand name, is actually the the logo as well. You could choose to go with initials, H&M, that's actually the last names of the people that started the company. Or you could go with a combination like Adidas, or if you see just Adidas written in that font, or if you see those 3 rectangles, you know that it's the Adidas brand. Now, when it comes to designing your logo and building your brand, it's also really important to spend a bit of time thinking about what colors you'd like to choose. And for this, we always recommend checking out the color emotion guide. Now, this essentially shows you all of the different colors and the different emotions that these colors make us feel. You can see red makes us feel excited, green makes us feel peaceful, and blue makes us feel a sense of trust and dependability. So it's important to think about what emotions you want your customers to feel when shopping with your brand and your business, and make sure to design a logo and choose your colors accordingly. Now, once you've got some colors, once you've got a logo, you also probably need to think about what your business name is going to be. Now, choosing a business name is quite possibly one of the more difficult things when it comes to business. I know I really lament over picking a good business name. But a few top tips we have and a few options you could go with is an acronym. Acronyms such as KFC stands for Kentucky Fried Chicken, BCF stands for Boating, Camping, Fishing, or BOP stands for Buy Our Product. You could join two words together associated with your product, or you could join last names together and do an acronym or two last names like H&M. Another really good one that I always love is looking at words in foreign languages. For example, if you're making a skincare company, you might take the word beauty and translate that into Italian and go with that as your business name. So think about what you're going to call your business. Now, a few top tools for you guys to help you out with your branding and building a really great brand. I'd recommend Canva is an awesome one if you haven't already. It's a graphic design platform, and it's awesome for designing your logo, your social media posts, your flyers, and your branding. Coolers.co is one of my favorite online tools to help you pick your colors, and it'll recommend different color palettes you might like. And Adobe Color is a similar one, but it's really good because you can search based on images. So you can find an image or a word you really like and find color palettes based on that image. And the final one is Namelix. Namelix is a really great platform that essentially uses AI to generate business names based on a few keywords you put in. So all a couple of options there, digital tools when it comes to branding. Now you've got your brand sorted. Next up is figuring out how to price your product or service. So you know what you're going to sell, you've got a brand around it, but how do you actually pick a price? And I was really keen to ask our panelists this because this is a really difficult part. Now, when it comes to pricing your products, there are a couple of things you've got to consider. Firstly, how much does it cost to make your product? How much are your competitors charging? How much are your customers willing to pay? How high quality is your product? And how many products are you going to be making? These are all some of the factors that go into deciding on your pricing. And at the end of the day, you've got to remember that pricing is flexible. If you put your prices too high and your customers aren't buying from you, it's easy to just lower the price. And on the flip side, if your pricing is too low and your products are flying off the shelf, it's really easy to put the price up. Now, when it comes to pricing, there are a couple of different strategies you can use. You could use competitive pricing, which is what you see in the supermarket, which is figuring out what your competitors charge and going just cheaper than that. For example, a loaf of bread that costs $3.19 as opposed to $3.40. Another could be cost plus, figuring out the cost to make it and then charging 2 or 3 times the actual cost to make that product. You could do dynamic pricing, so making it a bit flexible based on the time of year, certain holidays coming up, or certain trends. And I know during COVID, we saw the cost of hand sanitizer go through the roof, and is an example of dynamic pricing. You can look at skimming, which is what Apple does all the time with their new products, where every time they release a new product, it costs, say, $1,500 for an iPhone 10. These days, the iPhone 10 is a few years old. You can pick one up for $490. You could do value-based pricing, which is picking a product like, for example, Louis Vuitton. Now, it doesn't cost them $4,300 to make one of their Louis Vuitton handbags, but it's the value of that Louis Vuitton brand. And the final one is entry-level pricing, like you see with Tim Tams and a lot of the confectionery companies when they launch new flavors. They'll launch a new flavor at a bit of a discount than their regular flavors, get people using it, get people liking it, and then they put the price back up. So there are a few things to consider when deciding on how you price your product. Now, you've got your product, you've got your brand, you know how much you're going to charge for it. Let's get set up for sales and figure out how we can actually make some money off that product. Now, when it comes to selling your product, there's a whole range of different platforms you can use to sell your product online. And I would really recommend having some sort of online presence for your business because it's a really great way for your customers to be able to find you. Now, when it comes to creating an online presence for your business, these are a couple of tools we recommend. If you're wanting to design your own website, Wix, Shopify, and Square are 3 really great platforms. Square is great because it's low cost or no cost. Shopify is probably the most expensive, but the most powerful, and Wix is really customizable and sort of sits in between those 2 options when it comes to pricing. If you want to run an event, Humanitix is our platform of choice, and it's what you would have used to register for the webinar this evening. Humanitix is a great Aussie ticketing platform that lets you sell tickets for events. If you're creating a physical product, I'd recommend selling it on Etsy if it's handmade or homemade, eBay if you're wanting to sell it around the world. And it may sound weird, but actually selling it on Gumtree or Facebook Marketplace are 2 other really great platforms. For me, back when I used to sell my keyrings and my holograms, I made loads of sales on Gumtree and Facebook Marketplace just because people were already there and searching for products. As well as having an online sales platform, I also am a massive fan of selling at markets. And I know for me, I got started at markets as well. And it's great to hear Chloe starting her own markets for young entrepreneurs too. Now, when it comes to getting a market stall, don't be afraid to reach out and send an inquiry to your local markets and just see if you can come along for one market and see how you go. When it comes to planning and setting out your market stall, I always recommend doing a bit of market research, going to the markets as a customer, having a look at what are the stalls that grab your attention, what gets you excited, and see if you can learn from them. Now, a few things to consider are levels. Firstly, you want to have your products propped up so they're really easy to see and people don't have to look down over the top of your table to see it. At a market, people love to look from a distance, so make sure that they can see your product clearly. Another option could be hanging things from the top of the gazebo or the tent that you might get given, and hanging some decorations, hanging some products to make them easier to see. And finally, signage is really key. Make sure you've got really clear signage. It's super eye-catching and it's really clear what it is you're selling and what you're doing. Now, when it comes to standing out from the crowd in person or online, it's always important to think, particularly as a young entrepreneur, what you can do to be a little bit different to your competitors, and what you can do to really make a lasting impact on your customers so they tell their friends, their family, and their colleagues about you and you start to get some more sales. A few ways you can stand out from the crowd is maybe having a handwritten note that you put in every order that someone buys, just saying, hey, thank you so much for supporting my small business and buying my product. I really appreciate it. Another option could be offering some discounts. Now, that could be bulk discounts for people that buy multiple products. If they buy 3, 5, 10 products at a time, they might be able to get a bit of a discount. You could also offer free samples if you're selling things at a physical market, or free shipping if you're selling things online. Humans love free stuff, and they also love a bit of a bargain. So don't be afraid to offer those free samples or that free shipping. And finally, particularly as we head into the holiday season with Christmas just around the corner, think about some gift packs. People are all at this point starting to think about what they're going to buy their friends, their siblings, their parents, their kids. And if you can say, hey, this gift pack is great for young like teenagers, or this gift pack is great for your parents, it's a really easy sell. So think about doing some of these things to stand out from the crowd when you go to these markets. Now, as well as having a sales platform, it's important to find a way to keep engaging with your customers once they've shopped from you or once they've met you. And for this, we build a great digital presence. Now, when it comes to building a great digital presence, you've got to think about which social media platform is best for you, and more importantly, which social media platform is best for your customers. Now, it is always important to chat to your parents or guardians before creating a social media platform, and we'd highly recommend chatting to them first. And when chatting to them, maybe sit down and think about who are your customers, what social media platforms are they on, and create platforms based on where your customers are hanging out. Now, when it comes to your social media content, you should always be creating content around 4 key pillars. You want to create content that entertains your audience, educates your audience, inspires them, and promotes them. And if you do one of these too much, you'll notice your audience might start to disengage. But I'd always recommend filtering through these, where every first post, you do an entertainment post. Every second post is education. Every third post is inspirational. And every fourth post is promotional. If you have a really good balance of this, your audience are going to love following your socials. Now, when it comes to some digital tools for your social media, Canva Pro actually has a scheduling feature, so you can schedule social media posts straight from Canva. Pally is our personal preference for social media scheduling. It does cost a bit of money, but you can link all of your social media platforms and all your social media accounts together and schedule posts all at the same time. Facebook Creator Studio is a really great way to get started, and it'll let you schedule your posts on Facebook and Instagram. And down the bottom, we have a few other scheduling tools there: Planoly, Later, Hootsuite, and Sprout Social that you might want to check out. Now, as well as having a great social media platform, you also need to have a great mailing list. Now, a mailing list is how people can subscribe and keep up to date with your business, your products, your specials, and anything that you might be up to. And MailChimp is a really great platform for that. Now, your email subscriber list is one of the most effective ways to maintain your database of customers. So I'd always recommend on your website having somewhere for people to subscribe. When people buy from you, making sure you're grabbing their emails and continuing just to keep them up to date with what you're up to in your business, what things you're working on with MailChimp, just to keep your audience posted. And finally, as your business continues to grow, making sure you can manage it effectively. Now, these are a few top tips to keep things on track as your business continues to come to life. The first thing is considering a project management software. Now, when you're running a business, there's a million things happening at once. There's all of these moving parts, and you need a way to keep all of this in check for you to figure out as a founder what you need to be doing next and what you need to be doing when, and also to keeping all of your files in place. Now, for this, we recommend a project management software. All of the softwares on the screen have a free version, and they're all relatively similar, but just have a few different quirks. So I always recommend checking them out and seeing which one of these works best for you. Now, these project management softwares we recommend, Notion is my personal favorite. I use Notion for absolutely everything. You can also use Trello, MeisterTask, Monday.com, HubSpot, and Asana. These are all recommended by startup people in the industry, and I'd recommend just creating a free trial, jumping around, seeing what you like, seeing what you don't like, and finding a platform that works for you. As well as having a project management software, I'd also recommend creating a business email address. This will help you email clients, create accounts for your business, and start to build partnerships with other organizations as well. And you've got two options. You could create a free version. I know when I started out, I had bopindustries@gmail.com. It was free, it was easy, and it was really quick to set up and just helped me keep everything all in one place and separate my business stuff with my personal stuff. Or if you did want to get a domain name, like we have info@bopindustries.com, that's about $9 or $10 a month. And you can do that with Google for Business. If you check out Gmail for Business, Google for Business, there'll be some more information on how you can set that up. And finally, you may want some sort of a communication software. As your team starts to grow, you would like to have a software that allows you to communicate with your teammates, with other people in your business, and people that you're working with. And I know for us, Slack is always what we recommend. You could create a Facebook group chat or a WhatsApp, but I know Slack has a free version that's really, really powerful and is a really great way to keep all of your communications with your team in one key place. So that's a wrap. I know that was a lot of content, but as mentioned, this is being recorded. You can go back and watch this later. Check out all of those platforms. They're my top tips for how to start a side hustle. Now, we've had a pretty action-packed afternoon this afternoon. We've heard from 3 amazing young people that have brought their ideas to life right here in Queensland, and we gained some practical tips from them on how we can start accessing opportunities in our community. From there, we dived into all things branding and sales platforms and finished up by looking at pricing and our digital presence. So some of the key things you really need to know to start a side hustle or to continue to grow your business. Now, I'd also like to finish up by saying a massive thank you to the Office of the Queensland Chief Entrepreneur. OQCE are doing some fantastic work across Queensland to help advocate for entrepreneurs and create opportunities for us to get our businesses up and off the ground. If you'd like to find out more about the Office of the Queensland Chief Entrepreneur, make sure to head to chiefontrepreneur.qld.gov.au. And a massive thank you to them for making this webinar possible. And finally, a big thank you to the Next Gen Awards. Nominations for the Next Gen Awards 2023 have now closed, but I do recommend heading to bopindustries.com/next-gen to meet all of our fantastic winners, our finalists, and to jump on the mailing list so you can nominate for 2024. Nominations will be opening around mid-term 2, and we can't wait to see all of you putting your nominations in and sharing the projects you're leading in your local communities. But that is a wrap for this evening. Thank you all for joining us to look at how you can start a side hustle, a guide to becoming a young entrepreneur. A big thank you to all of our panelists, to the Office of the Queensland Chief Entrepreneur, and to the Next Gen team. Have a wonderful evening. We'll see you all very, very soon. Bye, guys.